Hello, today we are going to study some more bits of performance of three-phase induction motor. So that is losses and efficiency of induction motor. Already you are familiar with the losses and efficiency of induction motor. Losses means this is the power loss. So what are the types of power losses occurred in the induction motor, so that we are going to study now. So usually there are three types of losses occurred in an induction motor. Those are fixed losses. So this is also called as the iron loss. So this is the stator iron loss, which can be represented as P suffix I. Variable losses. So this is also called as the copper losses. So which can be represented as P suffix Cu. So variable losses can be classified into two categories. So one is the stator copper loss, which is represented as P suffix Cu S, which is given by 3 times I1 square into R1, where I1 be the stator current and R1 be the stator winding resistance. Rotor copper loss, which can be represented as P suffix Cu R, which can be represented as 3 times I2 square into R2. I2 be the rotor current and R2 be the rotor winding resistance. So this is three-phase motor, since which can be multiplied by what? 3 times, that is I square R. Now the total variable loss, which is represented as, that is P suffix U, that is equals to P suffix Cus plus P suffix Cur, that is equals to 3 times what? I1 square R1 plus I2 square R2. Now one more loss, so that is mechanical loss. This is also called as friction and windage loss. So the loss which is occurred by the mechanical vibration, so or the windage. It is nothing but the air. So the blow of air, so within the induction motor, so due to that the losses occurred, so that is called as the mechanical losses. So since the total losses which is given as the combination of these three, so that is the fixed loss, variable loss and the mechanical losses. So since which can be given as P suffix T is the total loss, is the sum of Pi plus PCU plus Pm. Now let me study the power stages in an induction motor. So let us consider the stator and rotor part of an induction motor. So this is the stator part of an induction motor. So obviously the input you are going to give the stator part of an induction motor, so that is represented as the active input power, so which can be represented as, that is P1. So due to this input power, so there are two losses will be occurred here. So one is the stator copper loss will be occurred, so this is the variable loss, and one more is the stator iron loss will be occurred. This is the constant loss or fixed loss. So obviously you will get the output, that stator output, which is the rotor input, so that is represented as the active power input to the rotor, that is P2. So obviously due to the power input to the rotor, so there will be a rotor copper loss occurred. So obviously you will get the some output, so that rotor output, so which is represented as the gross mechanical power P suffix M. So obviously you will get the some power at shaft, so that is called as the shaft power. So obviously here you will get the mechanical losses, that is windage and friction losses, that is P suffix W. Now we can represent it in block. So that is first block is the what? The motor input to the in the stator, that is P1. So due to this motor input you will get stator copper and iron losses. Then this motor input is the this motor, the motor output, whatever you are going to the stator output of the motor, so that is the rotor input, so that is represented as P2. So due to this rotor input, you will get the rotor copper loss, and the rotor output, which is represented as the gross mechanical power developed in the rotor, that is P suffix m. Then the output of this output of the rotor, which introduced into the shaft. So whatever be the shaft output power, that is the your power output of the motor. So then obviously in between this, the windage and friction losses, that is the mechanical losses, will be observed. Just to go through with this flow, so we'll understand the things, what is the power stages in an induction motor. So the power stages in an induction motor, it represents the various types of inputs and the outputs of the the various parts of the motor, and even the losses can also represented here, the variable losses, constant losses, and mechanical losses at different parts of the induction motor. Now let me study the relation between rotor input power, rotor copper loss, and gross mechanical power developed. This is very important bit in performance of three-phase induction motor. So most of the numericals will be asked in this bit only. So we must know the relation between rotor input power, that is P2, rotor copper loss PCU, and gross mechanical power developed PM. Now here let us consider a motor. So motor has an stator input, the motor stator input, which is represented as P1. The stator input P1 is equals to, stator output plus stator losses. So this is in general expression, that is input is equals to output plus losses. Since stator input P1, it is equals to stator output plus stator losses. Then rotor input, so which is represented by P2, rotor input is the what? Stator output. Whatever output we are going to get from the stator, so that will be the input to the rotor, which is represented as that is P2. Then the rotor output, that is the gross mechanical power developed, that is P suffix m, which is given by rotor input minus rotor copper loss. Obviously again this is in general formula is used, output is equals to input minus losses. So here, so the iron losses are neglected. So here you supposed to consider the rotor copper losses, that is the rotor gross output, that is PM is equals to rotor input minus rotor copper losses. Now let us consider the speed of an rotor. So that is, let nrps be the actual speed of the rotor, and if Tg, that is gross torque developed in the rotor, is given as, that is Tg is equals to rotor gross output in watts, that is Pm divided by 2 pi n. Again this is in general expression, that is output power is equals to 2 pi n t divided by 60 here considered. So that is Tg in terms of torque is considered, that is Tg is equals to the rotor gross output in watts, that is Pm divided by 2 pi n, that is in Newton meter. Call this equation number 1. If there were no copper losses in the rotor, then rotor output will equal to input, and the rotor will run at synchronous speed. Obviously if there is no copper losses in the rotor, so then rotor output will considered as its rotor input, and the rotor will run at synchronous speed. So since we just substitute in place of the rotor gross output, so just substitute the rotor input, that is P2. Here the losses are neglected. Just consider this equation. So whatever the equation here consider, whatever the equation you consider, that is rotor gross output Pm is equals to rotor input minus rotor copper loss. Here neglect this rotor copper loss. If rotor copper losses are not present, then rotor gross output, that is PM, is equals to what? Rotor input. So in place of rotor gross output, so here substitute that rotor input, that is P2. So call this as equation number 2. Then from equation 1 and equation number 2, see, observe equation number 1. What is equation number 1? Equation number 1 is what? That is the gross torque developed, Tg is equals to rotor gross output in watts divided by 2 pi n. So, and second equation is what? The gross power developed where the copper losses are neglected, the gross torque developed where the copper losses are neglected. So you just consider these two equations. If you consider these two equations, so what you supposed to do, that is you just represent the rotor gross output. So from equation number 1 you can consider the rotor gross output. What is rotor gross output? If you consider this rotor gross output, so how you can consider the rotor gross output? The rotor gross output can be represented as what? Again, you just move this 2 pi n here. 2 pi n itself, it represent what? It is the angular speed. So that can be moved into what? Left hand side. If you move this into left hand side, it becomes 2 pi n into Tg. So just represent 2 pi n is what? Tg, that is 2 pi n is omega, that is omega into Tg is equals to rotor power output, that is represented here. So that is gross mechanical power developed, that is Tg into omega, Tg into 2 pi n. And even you just remove rotor input from this equation. You just remove rotor input from this equation. If you remove rotor input from this equation, this can be moved into left hand side, that is 2 pi ns into Tg. Then 2 pi ns is considered as a omega, then omega into Tg, it is equals to rotor input power. So this is represented here, that is P2 is equals to what? Tg into omega s, Tg into 2 pi into ns. Now the difference of two equals rotor copper loss. Obviously, what do you mean by the rotor copper loss? How you can get the rotor copper loss? So rotor copper loss can be obtained by the difference between the rotor input and the gross power output of the rotor. So that is represented as, that is rotor copper loss is equals to, that is P2 minus PM, where P2 be the rotor input, PM be the gross mechanical power developed by the rotor. So just substitute the value of P2 and substitute the value of PM. So you will get that Tg into 2 pi into ns minus n. Call this equation number 4. Now here from 3 and 4. So what is the equation number 3? You know, equation number 3 is the what? That rotor input power. So that is Tg into 2 pi ns. Then what is equation number 4? That is Tg into 2 pi into bracket ns minus n. So then you just divide these two equations, that is divide equation 4 with equation number 2. If you divide equation 4 with equation number 3, what you will get? That is rotor copper loss divided by rotor input is equals to that is ns minus n divided by ns. Here ns minus n is there, so here ns is there. So in these two equations, Tg into 2 pi, Tg into 2 pi get cancelled. Then you will get that rotor copper loss divided by rotor input is equals to ns minus n divided by ns. You know, ns minus n divided by ns, it is nothing but the slip of the induction motor. Now rotor copper loss, which can be represented as, that is s times rotor input. Just move this into right hand side, then it becomes that s into rotor input, that is s into that power across air gap. You can also represent like that also. So call this equation as what? Equation number 5. Now next, you know, the rotor gross output. So you know, rotor gross output is given as the difference between rotor input and rotor copper loss. So you know the rotor copper loss. So just now you substituted, you got rotor copper loss as what? The rotor copper loss as what? S times P2. Substitute that value. So in place of rotor copper loss, so just consider the rotor gross output is equals to that rotor input minus rotor copper loss. So just rotor input keep as it is, substitute the value of rotor copper loss from equation number 5, that is S into rotor input. Then so just remove rotor input common here, then you will get gross rotor, that is mechanical power developed, is equals to 1 minus S times rotor input. Now you take this ratio, that is gross the rotor output divided by rotor input, just bring this into what numerator, then you will get that is equals to 1 minus S. Call this as equation number what? 6. Now here just substitute here, that is rotor input. So now in this equation, just consider this equation. What is the rotor input? You will get rotor input is equals to what? The rotor copper loss divided by what? Yes. See, just consider this equation. From this equation you will get that rotor input is equals to rotor copper loss divided by S. What is this equation? This equation is rotor copper loss is equals to S times rotor input. In that you just remove the rotor input, that rotor input is equals to rotor copper loss divided by S. Then this will be substituted in this equation in place of what? Rotor input. If you substitute in place of rotor input, that is rotor copper loss divided by S, then finally you just rearrange the form. You will get rotor copper loss divided by rotor gross output, that is equals to S divided by 1 minus S. This is from equation number 5. Now finally, that is if some, so from the flow, that is the power stages in an induction motor, so we say that, so if some power P2 is delivered to the rotor, so where this P2 power it is delivered, so it is the output of the water stator, that is output of the P1, so which is delivered to the rotor. So since so there will be some power will be lost in the rotor, that is S times P2 power will be lost in the rotor. So this is in the form of what? The copper loss. Then 1 minus S times P2 power appears as gross mechanical power, that is in the rotor output. Then finally we can represent the relation between the rotor input, rotor copper loss and gross the mechanical power developed. So in this way, that is P2 is to PM is to I square R is to 1 is to 1 minus S is to, that is S. Here P2 is the what? Rotor input. So rotor input is what? This magnitude is what? 1. Then this is the PM is the gross mechanical power developed. This is what? 1 minus S times. So the P2 you will get here. Then I square R is the rotor copper loss. Then rotor copper loss will be the what? So this is the S times what? Rotor input. Then finally this can be rearranged, that P2 is to PM is to PCR, that is equals to 1 is to 1 minus S is to, that is S. So this is about the relation between rotor input, gross mechanical power developed, and that rotor copper loss, that is 1 is to 1 minus S is to, that is S. Now let me discuss the efficiency of the, next let me discuss the efficiency of the induction motor. You know the in general expression of the efficiency of the any machine, how you can represent? This is the ratio of output power to the input power. Similarly here we can represent that the efficiency of an induction motor as the ratio of gross mechanical power developed to the motor input in stator is called efficiency of induction motor. So what is the output of the motor here? That is the gross mechanical power developed is the output of the motor. And what is the input of the motor? That is the power input in stator itself is the what input to the motor. So this ratio it gives the efficiency of the motor. So that can be represented as, that is denoted as, efficiency is denoted as eta, and which can be measured in terms of the percentage. Then mathematically the efficiency of induction motor, which is given as, that is efficiency that is equals to Pm divided by Pm, where P suffix m be the what, the gross mechanical power developed in the rotor, and P2 be the what, the input, that is input to the stator. So this ratio it gives the what, the efficiency. So here again I can represent the gross mechanical power developed, that is output of the motor, that is input minus losses. So input is the what, P1, then losses are the what, these all losses I supposed to consider here, that is PCS is the what, the stator copper loss, PCR be the what, rotor copper loss, then Pi be the what, the iron loss, then Pm be the what, the mechanical loss. That means the combination of the all the losses are considered, that is copper losses, iron losses and mechanical losses are considered. So that is subtracted by the what, input power, then you will get the what, the output power, that is Pm. So this is given by what, Pm, then that is multiplied by 100, because we can measure efficiency in terms of the percentage. This is about the efficiency of an induction motor. Now let me study the some test on three-phase induction motor, that is no load and blocked rotor test on three-phase induction motor. Now first let me consider the objective of the experiment. The main objective of the experiment is to obtain the variation of no load power and current and blocked rotor power and current with changes in the applied voltage to the stator. So this is the main aim or objective of the experiment, and even to determine the equivalent circuit parameters of an induction motor. So before going to this experiment, you must be familiar with the equivalent circuit of the induction motor. So that was studied in last video. You know the what are the parameters of the equivalent circuit of an induction motor. So first let me consider the no load test. So in case of no load test, so what reading is to be obtained here? So that is line to line voltage at stator terminal, so that is represented as V suffix NL in volts. Then stator phase current, that is represented as I suffix NL in ampere. Then per phase power drawn by the stator, that is P NL, that is no load power in terms of watts. Then how the calculation can be considered here? So the calculation is considered as the impedance, that is ZNL, no load impedance ZNL can be calculated as, this is the ratio of the no load voltage to the no load current, the no load voltage. So this here I suppose to consider in terms of the phase value. So because this is star connected, so in case of star connected, you supposed to consider the phase value of the voltage as well as the phase value of the current. You know, in star connected, phase value of the current is equals to the line value of the current. So since the phase value of the voltage can be considered as it is divided by √3 into the line value of the voltage, since ZNL is equals to VNL divided by √3 divided by INL ohms. Then you supposed to consider here what, the resistance, so that is no load. So how you supposed to consider? So that no load power, so that can be represented as, that is I square into R. So since so the ratio of no load power to the square of the no load current, it gives the what, the resistance, that is RNL. So this is the combination of these two, that is the stator resistance R1 and the core loss component of the resistance, that is RC. So then the reactance can be calculated here. So both the reactances can be calculated. The first reactance is what, X1 be the what, stator winding reactance, and xm be the what, the magnetizing reactance, that is xm. So how you can calculate, that is xnl is equals to square root of znl square minus r nl square. Now these are the calculations. Now let us consider the per phase equivalent circuit of three phase induction motor. So this was discussed in last video. So you know the per phase equivalent circuit. So where R1 be the what, stator winding resistance, and X1 be the what, the stator winding reactance, I1 be the what, stator winding current, and this is the no load component. So RC be the what, the core loss component of the water, the resistance, and XM be the water, the magnetizing component of the water resistance. Then the no load current can be flowing here, so which can be divided into what, two component. One is the what, core loss component and of the current, and magnetizing component of the current. Now here X2 it represent the rotor winding reactance. So R2 it represent the rotor winding resistance. So this is the what, equivalent value of the mechanical load. So this can be converted into what, electrical load. So this magnitude is what, 1 minus s divided by s times of the R2. So all these components are the what, the rotor side. So this brings into what, stator side, which can be referred into stator side. So since all component dash terminal is to be considered here. Now let us consider the approximate equivalent circuit of no load test. For no load test, we supposed to consider the only the stator component, only this much we supposed to consider. So this is given here. So this is the what, approximate equivalent circuit for no load test. All these component we supposed to what, calculate here. Now this is the connection diagram for performing no load and block rotor test on three phase induction machine. So you know, so this is the star connected stator. So see, that is sorry, this is the auto transformer. So this is your machine. So star connected rotor. So you supposed to give the supply. So three phase supply is to be provided here through the what, TPST switch. So here one switch is provided. So by closing and opening of the switch in order to provide the supply to the motor. So here one ammeter is connected which measures the phase current, and a wattmeter is connected here. So to any one phase, then a voltmeter is connected between two line. So that line voltage can be converted into phase voltage later. So this observation can be made. So what the observation can be made. So this is the tabular column, just supposed to consider. So initially how the test is to be performed. So initially you just run the motor under no load condition. So you just start the motor. So just close the switch. So once you close the switch, the motor it runs under no load condition. So during no load condition of the motor, just note down the all the meter readings, that is no load current can be tabulated and no load power can be tabulated, and even so no load voltage can be tabulated, and even the no load speed is also tabulated. So that is given in the tabular column. So that is the no load VNL be the what, no load voltage, INL be the no load current, PNL be the no load power, then N be the what, that is no load speed. So this is what the no load test, how the no load test can be performed. So initially the motor can be run under no load condition. Just give the three phase supply by closing the TPST switch. So the motor will run under no load condition. So during no load condition of the motor, just note down the all the meter readings, that is no load current, no load power, and no load voltage, and even you have to tabulate the no load speed also. So this is what the no load test. So that procedure is given here. That is determine the meter and their rating based on the nameplate reading of the machine. Then connect the circuit as shown in the figure. Set check the variac to be at 0 output. So here the variac, it represent that what the auto transformer, that is 3-phase auto transformer. So switch on the supply, that is close the TPST switch, then gradually increase the voltage applied to the machine to the rated voltage. Just give the gradually give the rated voltage to the motor. So motor runs at speed quite close to its synchronous speed. Then take the reading of voltmeter, ammeter, wattmeter and speed on that particular voltage on the variac and make a table. So this is the procedure. Now let me consider the block rotor test. Now this is the equivalent circuit for the block rotor test. Only you supposed to consider here the rotor component, that is rotor part. So this is what rotor part, that is so this is what only no load component, just you remove the no load component. So the no load component is what, that is the core loss component, that is the magnetizing component. So combination of these two, that you will get the what, no load component. Here you just remove the what, the no load component. So again you just supposed to consider the R1 be the stator resistance, winding resistance, and X1 be the stator winding reactance. Then X2 dash, R2 dash be the what, rotor winding resistance and rotor winding reactance. This we supposed to determine here. Then so what reading is to be obtained here? So that is blocked line to line stator terminal voltage you supposed to note down here, that is VBR. VBR means what? Blocked. BR means blocked rotor, that is VBR, that is blocked rotor voltage. Then stator phase current, that is blocked rotor current, you supposed to note down. Then per phase power drawn by the stator, that is blocked rotor power, you supposed to tabulate here. So now, so these calculations you supposed to make, that is ZBR be the what, block rotor impedance, that is per phase. So that can be calculated, that is by VBR divided by root 3, that is the block rotor voltage can be converted into per phase, that is divided by INL. Then block rotor resistance, that is RBR, can be tabulated by PBR divided by IBR square. So this is the combination of the both the resistances, that is the rotor resistance as well as the stator resistance. Then block rotor reactance, that is XBR, can be calculated by square root of ZBR square minus RBR square. So this is the combination of the both the reactance. So that is stator reactance as well as the per phase rotor reactance also. Then how the test will be performed here? So so initially just to block the rotor with some the blocking arrangement. So once you block the rotor, so that means rotor just it will be under steady position, that is constant position. So during that condition you just switch on the supply, just you go on vary the variac, so until so the rated current which flows through the motor. So during that extent note down the ammeter reading, voltmeter reading and wattmeter reading. So then repeat the procedure for other values, that is stator phase current which is less than the rated value. So you can do the experiment for the 2 to 3 values. So you just consider the initially what that stator rated current, so then half of that rated current and the one more rated current, that is you can consider, that is 3 reading is to be considered here. So this is the procedure is given here, that is determine the meters and their ratings based on the nameplates readings of the machine and requirement. Connect the circuit as shown in the figure. Then check the variac to be 0 output. First switch on the 3-phase supply, close the TPST switch. Now keeping the rotor still it is under blocking condition. Slowly increase the auto transformer output until rated current flows. So typically, so it is 25% of the water, the rated voltage you can get. Take the ammeter, voltmeter and wattmeter readings and tabulate them. repeat the procedure for other values. Stator phase current less than the rated value. So this is how the test can be performed, that is block rotor test. So that is the procedure for the block rotor test. So next, what is the tabular column? So here in the block rotor test, we supposed to tabulate the blocked rotor current. So that is given as what, IBR in terms of ampere. Then the block rotor voltage, so that is VBR. So block rotor power, this is PBR. So you supposed to tabulate here. So this is the predefined. How it is predefined? Because you know, IBR, it is nothing but whatever the variac we supposed to vary, that is we supposed to give the rated current. So that rated current, it is predefined, because this is already it is given in the nameplate of the the motor. With reference to that value, we supposed to give the supply. This is called as the reduced voltage is to be given to the the motor. Then we supposed to note on the the block rotor voltage and even the block rotor power. So this is about the how the block rotor test can be performed. Now this is about no load and block rotor test on 3-phase induction motor. So in next video we'll come up with some more bits of performance of 3-phase induction motor. Till then, be safe, stay at home. Thank you.